Hey man, what it is? This is Deem, and I am your host, and this is By Any Means. There go to PayPal at Deem by any means. There go to Cash App $ Deem by any means. Y'all already know what I'm about to say. I don't care if you leave $1, $10, $1,000. It's much, much, much appreciated. Y'all, I want to talk about my guy Shakur Stevenson. Y'all know that's my guy. I'm just one of the few Shakur fans that's not going to lie for him, not going to make things seem more than what they is, not going to act like Gervonta not my guy. I'm not going to big one up to down the other. I'm not going to big the other up to down the other. That's just not how I get down. The whole world is not going to make me dislike Shakur Stevenson because of their views and what they think or what they feel or whatever. I got my own thoughts on boxing. That's why you like, subscribe, and share my videos. Hey, don't be eavesdropping. Hit that like button too, you little eavesdropper. You right there. Press that like button. Thank you. Appreciate it. It's right there into the video after you clicked on it. I think Shakur Stevenson is a phenomenal fighter. I don't care how boring y'all say he is and all that, and I don't care about none of that. You got to beat him unless he's going to retire or retire tomorrow. At the end of the day, if you at the 135 division, 140 division, you're gonna have to see Shakur Stevenson if you want people to believe you are who you say you are. But guess what, Shakur? That works both ways. Shakur Stevenson has one option only. That is to beat Gervonta Davis, and all of this criticism goes away. Let's talk about it. Shakur Stevenson is suffering from what I call the Gervonta Davis effect. If Shakur Stevenson was in any other era, he wouldn't get all of this criticism. The problem is his birth certificate is close to Gervonta Davis's. And you fought 2 weeks after Gervonta Davis. They seen his performance against the guy that you wanted to fight and was supposed to fight. And then they seen your performance against a guy that Gervonta Davis beat, who beat the guy that you was fighting in dramatic fashion. That is why Shakur Stevenson is getting criticized. Frank Martin beat Arthur. Gervonta Davis knocked out Frank Martin. Shakur Stevenson couldn't knock out Arthur when he was trying to. Shakur Stevenson has one option and one option only, y'all, and that is to beat Gervonta Tank Davis. Go do whatever it is you have to do, Shakur, to guarantee that fight. You are a free agent now. Put Gervonta Davis in the position to duck you, and then let us do the rest. Let the Fanons and Knockouts and Manager Marty's and Just Do and 2 Cent and Upper Echelon, Dean, Crown Jewel. If I'm forgetting anybody, that's okay. You just know I'm thinking of you too. It's not on the top of my head right at this moment. Let us do the groundwork for you because we will clamor for you. You won't have to say anything on Twitter. You won't have to big yourself up. You won't have to respond to criticism. If Shakur Stevenson come out and say, yeah, I went over there to PBC, they ain't had nothing to offer me. They wasn't offering me Gervonta Davis. See, Shakur, you can't sit up there and say that they not off. You're not saying that they not offering you Gervonta. You're saying that they want you to fight Gervonta Davis last. Shakur, if they are guaranteeing you Gervonta, it don't matter when you fight him. You know why? Because you're younger than Gervonta. So you don't get that excuse, bro. You're younger than Gervonta. So if they got you fighting him next year or the year after that, but you will be fighting him, then that's all you need, bro. Because at the end of the day, the things that you want to accomplish, you won't be able to accomplish that until you beat him. So take those other fights. We're not too super intrigued by anybody else that you fight because honestly, I think that you can beat all the rest of those guys. That's me personally. I don't think you could beat Abdullah Mason, but Abdullah Mason is not a factor right now because of his birth certificate. Abdullah Mason has a lot of work to do before people even entertain that. By the time Abdullah Mason builds himself up and puts in the position where he could fight you and Gervonta Davis, that's years from now. That's at least 2 to 3 years from now. That by that time you could get the Gervonta. Shakur, you're not going to convince me that by the time you 30 or 29, you can't get the Gervonta Davis fight. I don't agree with that, bro. If you want to be that star, see, you want Marlo, if you watch The Wire, And when Marlo stole that lollipop out of the dollar store, and the security guard came out there, and Marlo said, "See, you want things to be one way, but it's the other way." Shakur wants us to he wants to be the star that Gervonta Davis is. He thinks his skills dictate that. He thinks he's good enough. He thinks he's put in enough work. All of that probably is true, Shakur. The problem is it doesn't matter because Gervonta is already who he is. And there's nothing you can do to change it. You can't tweak your popularity up. That's why I'm disappointed in Shakur because, bro, what you're trying to do is just not working. Actually, it's having the opposite effect. Only way you gonna convince people you as good as Gervonta Davis or you is that dude, you have to beat him. It's simple as that, little bro. This the best advice you gonna get. You ain't got to sign the PBC, but you definitely got to go see what they talking about. And if you're going to sign to Eddie, you got to let Eddie know, listen, I need everything that you're going to do, all of your resources to make that Gervonta Davis fight happen. Because we see that Vasyl Lomachenko is about to fight Gervonta Davis. So obviously Gervonta Davis camp has fought Ryan Garcia and is going to fight Lomachenko, which will be cross-promotional. He's done it twice. So you got to put yourself in position for Gervonta Davis to duck you. And Shakur Stevenson, I promise, me and a bunch of other content creators will put the pressure on Gervonta Davis to fight you. See, Shakur Stevenson is in the same position that David Benavidez is in. The problem is David Benavidez accepts his position and does everything he has to do surrounding Canelo to still keep his name up there. That's why David Benavidez don't get the criticism you get. You don't hear people talk bad about David Benavidez. You know why you don't hear people talk bad about David Benavidez? Because nobody thinks David Benavidez is the reason that him and Canelo is not fighting. You have to do the same. If Gervonta Davis don't want to fight me, cool. I'm going to beat every single body else that's in that he would fight or want to fight. Or I'll beat the guy that he beat after him. It don't matter how it go. All I know is that you need to not keep knocking down on bowling pins. I do know that. If you can't get a strike, you better get a spare. If you can't get a strike, you better get a spare. I wholeheartedly believe in Shakur Stevenson more than others. That is my guy. I feel the same way about Shakur Stevenson that I feel about Terrence Crawford. I love them as fighters. I don't think it's too much to argue with as a fighter. Shakur Stevenson is not a knockout artist. I am mad at y'all for believing what Shakur Stevenson is going to say. I don't care what Shakur Stevenson says. What he put on tape is what I believe. You're not a knockout artist. You got 22 fights, 11 knockouts. That's not what you do. What you do is go in there and beat the guy. Shakur Stevenson should lean into, I can't promise y'all nothing, but I'm going to hit him more than he going to hit me. He can't beat me. None of them. And lean into that, man. Lean into the fact you're a defensive fighter. I'm a defensive fighter. And what is your point? Shakur, are you born? And they still got to beat me. I may be born. Let's say that's true. Beat me then. That's your job to make it exciting. If I'm the boring fighter, that's your job to make it exciting. Beat me then. I'm not going to deliberate from my game plan for you to make you happy. Why would I do that? That's my opinion on what Shakur Stevenson needs to do. For all of this criticism to go away, little bro, you got to beat the man. You want to beat the man? You got to beat the man or put the man in a position where everybody think he's ducking you. David Benavidez. David Benavidez feels as though, I guarantee David Benavidez feels exactly the same way you feel, Shakur Stevenson. The problem is you don't hear him complaining about it. The problem is you don't hear him, it seems like he's whining and crying about it. He just keep going around handling his business, moving up to 175, challenging himself, beating Goffchick. He get credit for that. Beating Boo Boo, beating Canelo Caleb Plant. He gets credit for that. You don't want to be David Benavidez, and that's the problem. David Benavidez is a generational talent too. He a special fighter too. He's much deserving of fighting the main guy, the face of boxing too. The problem is he is not whining or complaining about where he's at. He's just continuing to move forward, and that's what you should do, little bro, and get away from Jay Prince. I keep telling you that, but you don't want to listen. Abdullah Mason, do not follow Shakur Stevenson's steps. If you really believe you a star, bet on yourself. That's how Gervonta Davis got there. Y'all already know what this is, right? Dean, by any means. And I'll holler at y'all.